So, I'm thinking to continue with those three diseases of the mind. I think you are fairly aware of the three diseases of the mind. And if you have contemplated, you discover, yes, these three diseases in the mind causes uh, all the suffering in our lives. So either we can continue to expand this, or we stop for a while, and after understanding the three diseases of the mind, that is what we say emotional dependence. Do you remember? Why don't I remember? I emotionally depend on everything. That's why I'm suffering. So, not a big deal. The moment we wake up, we are emotionally. And second is that results in sorrow and suffering. What you said, what you did not say. You should have said this, to the near and dear ones. No, you should have said like this. I know that you reacted that. You see, our entire life goes like this. We don't want to live in peace. No, you said this and I said this. You understand? So this is the delusion, the third disease. So I'm thinking that should we reflect on, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? Did you hear the question? Are we really worthy? We say, I have worth. You did not recognize me, you insulted me, you reacted me. That also is the three diseases. So, should we take up? Yes, let us take up. Are we really worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? So, our question, based on the last few sessions today, is, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow? And if I give you lessons with the sadness of the face, my eyes, will really you get anything? Or will I get anything if I'm so serious? So, our question is, are we worthy of suffering, sadness, and sorrow, which is the cause of the three mental diseases, which extends to 8 factors? You have already understood that. Did you understand or not? Now, who cares? You don't know how sad I am in my life. That is what we are talking. Are we worthy of suffering? So, do you remember the alligator? Huh? Do you remember the alligator? Log of wood? So, that is what we are trying to understand. Are we worthy of suffering? You know what happens? You are always bubbling with the cheer and the smile and full of energy, and one day you are sad. So the guy you meet who says, what happened to you? What happened to you? Do you see that? Nothing happened. It is an alligator. Nothing more than the alligator. Think of this. And the guy, now see, the other guy who complains all the time, and there may be a friend nearby, near and dear to you, maybe a family member, who wakes up and starts complaining. And one day he keeps very quiet, he has a big face. Then you say, what happened to this guy? There is no more complaint today. There is no more blame. What happened to this? So we are trying to understand. I have taken a deviation in this session and then we'll come back. Are we worthy of grief, blame, sadness, suffering? That is the question. Ask yourself. If not, then why you have a big face? No, let us understand the answer in a different way. What we gain by sadness, having a big face, complaint, reaction, and expecting from the other people. Now, our question is, what we gain by sadness? And I'm very sad. Okay, be sad. Alligator, remember, it is because of that alligator. So those who show and express sadness, grief, blame, complaint, are they worthy of doing so? When we love, we move with a smile and happiness, we can pass on. At least there is something worthy. Don't you see that? But are you ready to give sadness to others? My friend, I'm very sad. Kindly accept my sadness today. Sorrow and the suffering belongs to the past. That causes the sadness. Please accept my sadness. I'm very sad today. I'm very sad. I will qualify to be a seeker. I will listen to you. You see? Are you getting anything by being sad? This sadness is the result of three diseases and an alligator. Are you understanding? Can you say like this, I'm very sad, I will attend your class? Better not attend my class. It is better, do not attend my session. Sadness, sorrow, and the suffering. Now comes the main principle. I'm going to say, don't forget this. Sadness, sorrow, and the suffering do not exist. And still, I have a long list of complaints. That is why I'm sad. That is why I grieve. That is why I blame. That is why I complain. But they do not exist. From where I took the story here. Are we worthy of suffering? But the sadness do not exist. Sorrow do not exist. They exist in my mind because of alligator. Do you see that? Think of this. Contemplate. I am not teaching from my own. I am teaching from the great master Krishna. It exists because of attachment and detachment on one side and delusion on the other side. If I will be sad before you guys, you will have sympathy on me. That sympathy is also coming from the same three diseases. I'm expecting something. It exists because of expectations. Expectations met, pleasure, then more expectation, and then more expectation. And then the honey says, you are crossing a limit, my. And, oh, I'm crossing a limit? I'm your honey. I'm your friend. Honey means I'm your friend. We have to understand this. Are we worthy of suffering, sadness, grief? Answer is no, because they do not exist. That is the declaration by the Krishna. I know some of you might be thinking, what a crazy Krishna is. That is also coming from three mental diseases. That we need to understand. Expectations not met, frustration, and frustration leads to sadness. I met with a beautiful woman in India, and she loved me. She always hugged me, she respected me. But only one thing. Every time she says, I know I love you, you guide me. But she's always started blaming and complaining her husband. 5 years passed. So I said, what to do? If someone loves you, it is better to keep those people near. So at last, I gave her a name. I said, you are a goddess of sorrow and sadness and big face and suffering. So every time she used to come, I said, you are a goddess of sorrow and suffering. What is your blame and complaint? What is the reason of your sadness? Keep in your mind. You need not to believe me. You have to contemplate and reflect and come to a conclusion that this sadness, grief, suffering do not exist. And they exist because of the three diseases. And that takes you to be in the grip of alligator. Did I tell you alligator? Do you remember that? 2 hands, desire fulfilled, other is desire not fulfilled. 2 legs, delusion, loss of memory. And the big tail is loss of intelligence. Now she is not no more. Now she is no more, she died. And she always said, everything is right, what you are saying, but I'm sad. Everyone praised her. Intelligent women. But always has a higher expectation, sadness, sorrow, and this. See from the other point of view what master slaps on our face. Krishna slaps. I'm not saying anything. Remember this. So don't be offensive. Sometimes we react, So please don't. Krishna says wise people do not grieve, do not become sad, do not have a big face. What is your opinion about yourself? Are you intelligent? Are you intelligent? He directly says those who grieve, continue to live into the sadness, sorrow, and the suffering are fool. I'm using his word. I'm not saying anything. Sorrow includes anger, agitation, sadness. Now tell me, sadness give you any result? Find out. Next time I will have a very big face and I will talk very seriously. Check. Will you get anything or will I get anything? It blows our mind. It makes you such a deeper understanding of your own mind. The moment your mind says you are sad and you have a smile on your face, because they do not exist. But they exist because of these three factors, 3 diseases and 8 factors. Have you seen, I was contemplating and reflecting, so I got some idea. We had a Halloween, we bought a lot of candies. So instead of putting outside, we said, no, let me put minimum 10 candies to everyone. So we attracted more and more kids. It's a matter of joy. Why not? Now, now can you give sadness to someone? Can you give sadness to someone? So if you cannot give sadness to someone, why you are sad? No, I have lot of problem. I am very sad. Sadness, sorrow, suffering, grief are the results of these 3 diseases and 8 factors, but they do not exist. If they exist in my mind, they will cause the problem. Are you getting it? So we will see each other. We will see one another in every session. You all are seekers. What a big deal. Now pay attention. Pay attention. Sadness is very much related to expectation. Deeply, closely related to expectation from others. Can you get me a glass of water when I come to your home? Yes, said yes, yes. Can you give me $1,000? So it is my expectation that give me $1,000. I did not measure my expectation whether it will be fulfilled or not. You don't give me $1,000 and then I am sad. Are you understanding? Are you getting that? Without measuring our expectation, we ask people. That is what the expectation is. Now, my mind in a delusion, oh, this guy has a big house. He is a millionaire. No doubt. Let me go to his house and ask for a donation. Even $10 he can't spare. Are you understanding that point? Deeper. I measure the expectation based on my delusion that a guy is a millionaire. So at least he can spare $1,000, but he is not ready to spare even $10. And you still try to convince. We still try to convince. You see, it is a very good project. Your sorrow and sadness will go away. Nobody wants to spare. Are you worthy of sadness, sorrow, grief, suffering? Ask yourself. If yes, stop attending the session. If no, continue to attend the session to reach to a point where your mind says, no more. No more delusion. No more attachment. No more sorrow, sadness, and suffering. Huh? I gave 2 examples. Can you give me a glass of water? Yes, I can give you. So I expected from you to give me a glass of water, a bottle of water. Yes. Now I created a delusion in my mind that you will definitely spare something for me, but you don't spare. That's why I gave an example, millionaire and $1,000 and $10. But you're not ready. You manipulate. So you manipulate. I understand, and I become sad. Look at this guy. There's so much money. He can't spare. Replace money with lot of other things in your relationship. Don't you have a time to spare for me? It's not money. Am I worthy of suffering? That is the question. Am I worthy to be sad? Tell me, who is worthy of being sad? Behind it, three factors, alligator. Understand it practically, pragmatic, practical approach. Why sadness? Krishna says foolishness. No, don't be offensive. I'm not pointing anyone. I'm explaining the principle. So, grief, sadness, foolishness. You see, that is why I used to give an example of our great genius, Bill Gates. Great genius, a millionaire, but sad. Do you see? Can you relate it? Is what delusion is. We are sad continuously, days after days, and oh. Do you ever say that I am very sad, today I will eat more? Find out the benefits. Come on, find out the benefits. I'm grieving, so today I will earn more. Find out the benefit. Do you ever say that? Unnecessary. No, I'm very sad. Look at when we are a seeker, then only we are able to tolerate these teachings. If you are not a seeker, if you tell anyone, they will say he is crazy. The entire modern psychology says yes, sadness is a disease, but they don't know the root cause of it. See, we know the root cause. Why? Sadness, grief, suffering. One side holding attachment, other side holding delusion. We are squeezed. Sadness do not exist. It is hollowness of the mind due to these two factors. And did I tell you? Sadness depends on emotional dependence. Dependence means expectation. And expectation I have already given two examples. I do not know how much to expect from the world in a given situation. Let me repeat it. How much to expect from the world in a given situation. With a person, I give totally a free session on Thursdays. Thursdays in the evening because of Anne. Anne supported me so much, and including Barbara during my difficult times. So I said, let me give it. So one woman wrote to me, how much I owe you. We understand it, but we don't say. I said, how much, I sent her an email, how much I should expect from you. As far as the teaching is concerned, what is the worth of my teaching to you? Based on that, I will expect. He never responded. Why we are angry, agitated? Because of expectation. Why there is an expectation? It results into sadness because of these three factors. You may be a millionaire, but you cannot spare. So I should understand. My expectation is wrong. I'm living in a delusion. Not talking of a millionaire in the sense that how much I should expect from a partner, from a brother, from a sister, from a sibling. That demands your discernment and dispassion. Are you getting it? Look at it. You are free. Over expectation, you realize, I'm sorry. Thank you. Don't pay me. Continue to. No, for example, just an example. Are we worthy of sadness, suffering? Ask yourself. Have you seen tiger is sad? Have you seen the buffaloes are sad? Are you getting it? Are we worthy of suffering? So Krishna hits clearly. What is the now the last point worth contemplating and reflecting, my friend? Are we worthy of sadness? Are we worthy to be angry? Are we worthy to be agitated? You see that you are learning anger management also. You are learning anxiety management also. But we are a seeker, so we are continuing our journey. Are we worthy of sadness? Let us examine. Be very practical, pragmatic. We use the words, but I wonder whether we really digest it or not. Be pragmatic, right? Right? Okay. What is the object of sadness? Tell me. Your honey. Leave your honey immediately. If he or she is an object of your sadness, there is no object of sadness. If the honey is the object of sadness, you are the subject of sadness. Do you see that? Are you getting it? We are going a little deeper. Object of sadness does not exist in the world. And you become the subject of sadness. That is the delusion. Are you getting it? Did you understand that? Object of my sadness that I don't have money. Can you show me the sadness in the money? Then I have a reason to be sad. This is what I'm saying. No, I gave example of honey. It doesn't mean that it is always honey. Are you getting it? Say, I am a subject of sadness. I'm very sad. Why? Stephen is not listening to me. Example. Now it means Stephen is the object of sadness. Can I brand Stephen as an object of sadness? Where is sadness? Are we worthy of suffering? Why don't you have a smile then? It's a very deeper. Eastern wisdom is not easy. If we are committed, sincere, then now I present you, I respect you, I fold my hands. We all are at equal level. You receive something, I receive something. And if I'm sad, you are sad. I'm not ready to take your sadness. Do whatever you want to do. So that's why, with that beautiful woman, I branded her, I gave her a name, Goddess of Sorrow, Suffering, Sadness, so that I can keep a distance. Did you understand that point? Last point, and then we will do. This is object of sadness does not exist in the world, but I become the subject of sadness. Well, today I little bit deviated. I gave you a higher principle. That sorrow, that sadness is misconception, that is delusion, that is wrong notion. Okay, you are sad and you express that I'm very sad today. Give me 2 pounds of sadness. Give me 2 pounds of sadness, every day until it is done. Unnecessary. We are making our life crazy. Unnecessary. Why unnecessary? Because we do not understand. Why we do not understand? Because of delusion. So, what Eastern wisdom says, have a right knowledge. Remove the ignorance. Sorrow is subjective. If it is really subjective, it means it belongs to you. You have it. Give me 2 pounds, maybe 3 pounds. No, whatever I can tolerate. But if you say if you have 100 pounds of sorrow, that is what Krishna says. Wise do not have a sorrow. You claim you are wise and still you are doing foolish things. Last point, conclusion. Sadness and sorrow are not the properties of any person, any place, any event, any situation. Are you getting it? Look at the subtle understanding of the Krishna. This sadness, sorrow, grief, not the property of any object, any person. Can you brand yourself that it is my property? There are two meanings of property. Properties, physical. Can you tell me sadness and sorrow and suffering are your properties? Tell me. No. So if no, and you believe, it is delusion. From today, if you are sad, sorrow, and suffering, then I will allow me to give you a name, Mr. Sad and Mrs. Sad, or Miss Sad. Yeah? Mr. Sadness, Miss Sadness. No, we have Miss Universe, so we should have Miss Sad or Miss. What is very important to understand? You start with and contemplate and reflect today. Anytime the mind says, I am very sad, am I worthy of suffering? Am I worthy to grieve? Am I worthy? No, pain is physical. No problem. At a physical level, it's a pragmatic. I have a headache. Let me take pills. Or let me do the breathing. Yeah? I'm hungry. Let me eat my food. But where is sadness? Where is? What kind of a pill? When the mind, we have to awaken the intellect, we have to contemplate and reflect. Look at the beautiful journey of this Eastern wisdom. Then we understand what exactly is awakening and what is end of suffering. So let us start our journey. Eyes are closed. and body is steady. You see, my dear friends, that body is steady, mind is facing within, and eyes are closed. You see, when we understand the teachings of our great masters, the mind says, I didn't know. So I did not know gives me the sense of humility. I do not stick to my wrong notions. And that is where comes namaste. Mentally namaste. Mentally fold your hands in front of your rib cage. All the fingers are done. You know, I gave you that practice before. That is, today is the time to do that practice. I'm so humble. Why I'm humble? I'm not worthy to be sad. I'm not worthy to be suffering. Really? Wow, it is that. So you what happens? One day when your mind naturally folds the hand in Namaste Mudra, it becomes the mental Namaste Mudra. What is that? Namaha. I am not. Namaha. Na means not. Ma means me. I am not. What I am not? I am not worthy of suffering. Simple. Simple. And that is why I gave you this step. I'm reminding you. Become aware of the mentally. You are doing the namaste. All your fingers are joining together of both the hands. And then you find the space in between. That space is Shantoham. That space is Shantoham. Just check it. You say Shantoham. That means I am the peace. If I'm not that, what I am? I'm the peace. Then become aware of the space. And again Shantoham. Thought comes, no worries. Now you have already, you know it. As a seeker, you are wise. Otherwise, also, you are wise. I'm not saying anything. But we are understanding based on the teaching. So, Shantoham. Now I know what I was knowing is false. I recognize, so it does not stand in the power of Shantoham. That may become only one and the final step of the journey. Depends. You see, Shantoham, space, Shantoham, space, Shantoham, space, Shantoham. Drop saying Shantoham. That being comfortable is the message. When you are sad, sorrow, suffering, you are always at unease. But we started learning from the joints of the body. But ultimately, we are moving deeper, looking at the shoulder joints, being there, feel, sensation, comfort, steadiness, space. Space is awareness, awareness is space. Why? Now, these three diseases of the mind is not overpowering my understanding, my knowledge, my clarity, means my intellect. That is the meaning of being comfortable. And the same way, being carefree, you're free from all the sadness, sorrow, and the suffering. Do not make you carefree. They may go in the background. See, in our previous sessions, it was going into the background. Now there is no chance. Ultimately, it is the thought and the feeling that gives you an experience of sadness. So that thought and the feeling belongs to the three illnesses. I'm not the part of it. Did you not learn? I'm not there is no object, there is no subject of sadness, sorrow, and the suffering in the world. It is a covering, it is a delusion. That is why let the thought come, let it go. Let it come, let it go. Do you see the penetrating wisdom? And in that state, it is better to do the nyasa. Let us start doing a little deep, silent, and slow breath. Check it. Your breath is rhythmic and the body is steady. So when you start breathing, deep, silent, and slow, it is rhythmic. Check it. Body is steady. You are aware. You're not aware of any thought that enters into the mind. Let it enter. They all belongs to I am not worthy. I leave the sentence incomplete. I know you will complete. So, breath is your car. The mind is the driver and the intellect is the boss. So, as you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips in the space, mentally singing Shantoham. Why? I'm not worthy of. Why? Pragmatic, practical answer. Continue as you exhale, move the mind from the fingertips to the shoulder. In the space is the highway, mind is the breath is the car, mind is the driver, and the intellect, knowledge, understanding. What he's saying, Shantuham. Secondary thoughts may come and go because of the past impressions. Let it come and go. After effects of alligator will remain, so let it come and go. You are enjoying your life, your moment of life. You see how easy mindfulness or meditation is. If we have a clarity, if we have a deeper understanding, my friends. You're engaging everything, the body. How? Comfort and steadiness. Now do the same thing inside the left arm. As you inhale, the mind moves inside the left arm. Intellect says Shantam. That is understanding that I am the peace. Why? Am I worthy? I know you can complete the sentence. Continue. Inside. So the space inside the left arm is the highway. Mind is the driver driving the breath, deep, silent, slow. Intellect is saying Shanto. Now see, the same step gives you a very deeper, higher level of awareness. Our level of awareness does not mean that you physically you go on the top of the highest skyscraper. It simply means now you are living in a higher level of awareness. Your Kundalini is rising. All that we have been doing with the Kundalini are baby steps. Now, inside the right leg, as you inhale from the right side of the waist, the mind moves inside in the space. Dropping Shantoham means knowledge, it means understanding, it means clarity. Other thoughts are there. I'm not ignoring. Let it be there, but now the intellect knows what? I'm not worthy of. And you continue. It makes the journey clear, straight. But otherwise, we try to control our sadness, sorrow, suffering, grief, expectation. Alligator continues its grip. Now, inside the left leg, you see, I'm speaking very little. And the mind, your mind is totally absorbed inside. Why? We removed the ignorance. That is the main point. The entire journey of Yoga Eastern wisdom is to remove that ignorance. You are saying Shantoham inside the left leg to remind you. And in a casual, carefree, comfortable, no worries. Worry? Am I worthy to worry? Intellect gives us a instant knowledge. Am I worthy to worry, sad? And the mind goes to Shantoham. It takes time. Knowledge is realized in stages. It is not one day affair. We have to understand more and more principles. It's a smooth sailing, as if you are driving on the highway in the midnight. No one is there. You will feel that light, as if these thoughts are too far. Now inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone, Shantu Ham. And during exhalation or inhalation, whatever it is, don't make any rule. If you feel like that during inhalation you can move from the tailbone to the top of the head, it's okay. Why? Real self is free from all these mental jargons. Shantuham. That awareness. When we say rise of Kundalini, it is the rise of perception. What is perception? Knowledge, awareness. It is rise of consciousness. Same consciousness through the mind was messed up with the three diseases, eight factors, and alligator, and now it is free. Why it is free? Am I worthy? Shantuham. You sing the way you like. You see, when you are in peace and calmness, devoid of sadness, sorrow, and the suffering, you know, out of nowhere, you start singing in front of your honey. You never sang before. And the people receive it. But no one in the world is going to receive your sadness, sorrow, and suffering. Do whatever you want. Try this. You have already tried. Shantuham. And now leave the breath. Without the breath, continue Shantuham, moving the mind in the spine. Moving the mind in the spine. Oh, we can also place it deep inside the heart. Allow the mind to move deep inside the heart. Shantuham. Let us see the mind find Shantuham is everywhere. I'm the peace. Intellect says yes. Am I worthy of? No. No, it depends on you what you say. That awareness should be intact. That awareness and perception is known as the rise of consciousness. It's a baby step. My energy is rising from the tailbone. My kundalini is awakened, and I'm still worthy of. Those who do not are not capable seekers, qualified seekers. My master used to say, to whom we teach, have color and vision and energy short. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside. Your experiences, bring the hands down. How are you, Laura?
I am good. It was a good quiet meditation. I kind of played with it a little bit on my own because as soon as you said Nyasa, my body had already started to go into it before you guided it. And so I just playing with the channels a little bit differently. today, so that was nice. And it was interesting that you're talking about the emotions because I've had a lot of emotional clients this week that have come to me that I haven't seen in the past couple weeks because I've been gone.
Don't
And
take
there's
any
a lot
emotion
of
from them.
emotion. And I just kind of guided them. I was like, this is a story that you're telling yourself. And I feel like so many, it's like they can still have the feeling, but realizing what's present here is that like you're safe right now, you're breathing, you have everything you need. And like those, the sorrow and the suffering is often from a story from the past or worrying about something in the future that we cannot control. And so just helping people guide that. So it was
Yeah,
helpful
yeah.
to hear this today.
Good. It is purely modern psychological approach, but add this approach also, because this approach goes to very deep. So very good to hear your experiences. How are you, Brandy?
I'm fine, thank you. My experience today was really deep and quiet, but I was a little bit like my mind wanted to play with the order of the words and the sentence, the syntax of "I'm not worthy of sadness," so it might switch it around to "I'm worthy of not sadness."
Yeah.
And once I got that, like once I just rearranged those words a little bit, it was a different experience. So
You see that very knowledge hits the intellect, removes the doubt. That's what I have been saying. Brings the clarity. The mind changes. Yes, you both rightly explained it. How are you, David and Jerry?
Um, Very simple, deep, quiet, uh, empty. It was great.
Beautiful. Yeah. The world outside brings the thought inside, but now there is nothing inside. Simple, quiet. So that also proves that I'm not worthy of. You complete the sentence. There are two ways of completing the sentence. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. The meditation was very quick, went by fast. I guess, part of the, focusing on worthy of sadness, not worthy of sadness, sorrow, suffering.
Yeah.
I guess I was just, we can have some of those things that will pass through, right? We'll pass through those moments, and it doesn't change who we are, and it does. We're not that. So right, but it's okay to, through this life we'll experience that, right? We will experience it, but it doesn't mean we are our sadness. We're not sadness.
Yes. So
Right.
now that's you are going deeper. So now I experience it. I only experience it in delusion at this point also. I only experience because of the past impression. We are not going there, that we have already covered. Because the way I react and respond to the different situations, it has created millions and millions of impressions. And those impressions put me into delusion. So I have an experience. So again, it is coming to the three diseases and eight factors. Why should I say eight factors? Alligator. Remember that? Wonderful, beautiful experience. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good. I you combine what Jeree experienced and David experienced is exactly what happened. Just
Good.
deep, quiet, peaceful, fast. So
You
thank
see,
you.
you see, peace, beautiful, fast. What it shows, I live into that awareness. Huh? Let me explain you. If you, I don't remember, Sam. There is a flying restaurant in New York City. or where you go there and you see the entire New York City all around. This is the meaning of rise in awareness. Your perception is very limited. See that? Limited perception guarantees your mind to say, I'm worthy of sadness and suffering. When you rise in awareness, simple, quite beautiful. Good. How are you, Sam? Before I go to Terry, yes.
I'm really good. It's daylight savings now, so the sun sets really early at 4:30. So I'm making sure that I get out and experience the sunlight for the periods of time that I can.
Are you
Because a lot
worthy
of
of
people-
suffering due to daylight saving?
No, I'm not.
Problem is
But I was going to say that since daylight savings has happened, and I reflected on the meditation from last week where I mentioned that I felt a difference between the light coming in and then at the end of the meditation, the light and the space was coming out of me. And I would say that objectively over the last few days, the light has felt a little bit dimmer, but not in a sad way. It's just a little bit more sluggish and that. And I am trying to think about what that means. And I think my younger self would normally try to fight against that.
Yeah.
Go play outside in the dark, stay up late. But maybe that just means that it's time for more contemplation and reflection, which will also rejuvenate the light.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand what that means for me when the light feels dimmer.
Yes.
Not in a sad way, but it just means that it's time for different things.
Yes. Yes. And we should also understand, let me add, that's a good contemplation, that at a physical level, there is an impact and we should take care. I'm hungry, I should eat food. I should not say I'm not worthy of suffering because I'm hungry. Then we deviate the entire issue. Then we do not understand. We are talking of only the sadness and the suffering caused by the three diseases. So that needs to be, so contemplate, reflect. You will be there. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. It was a very peaceful and deep meditation for me. But a question came to me during the meditation, and that was, how do you separate sadness from compassion?
How do you separate sadness from compassion? Does sadness exist? First, you have to reflect on that. That is what I covered. Does sadness, suffering really exist? It exists as long as the mind suffers from the three diseases of attachment, of sorrow and suffering, of expectation and delusion. Are you getting it? Sadness, suffering exist because the mind lives in delusion. Is there a east and the west? Tell me.
Yes.
There is no east and west. There is no. It is our matter of convenience. Physics says it is only a matter of convenience, Barbara, so that we can locate where is you, where is my house, where is your house. They do not exist. Does the blueness of a sky exist? Does the water in the mirage exist? So once I clearly understand the water in the mirage does not exist, that is sadness. What is left is compassion, kindness, peace, love, wisdom. That is how this approach is.
Mhm.
Think of this. Still, you have a doubt. You're always ready. How are you, Vaibhav?
Sir, I'm good. With respect to the lesson, what I've understood is that I have created a dependency in my mind,
That's
and
a good
because
point.
of that, it is the sadness coming from that, and it is very relative to me. It is not absolute. So, going with this idea, when I do the practice, anything which is popping up in my mind that is relative to me and it is not real.
Yeah.
So I can drop that thing very easily, and then it was very simple and relaxing.
You see that he gives a beautiful expression of what everyone has explained. The moment I am aware, I understand I am not worthy to be sad, suffer, because it comes from the delusion. And then you sit in meditation, you are already in meditation. That is why we say mindfulness is natural and effortless. But until I become a seeker, how are you, my friend Terry? Where are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm struggling to breathe, so I want to know. What do I want to know? It seems to me the nature of this world. There is happiness and sadness, but we fight to stay in it, and I wonder why.
Because of ignorance. We create sadness, we believe in sadness, we brand ourselves that I am sad and suffering, then we try to get out of the suffering, we can never get out of this.
Well, I want to be able to breathe easily so I can.
Remain calm.
Better.
Remain calm. But now see one thing in Terry. In spite of the challenges in the body, that intelligence, that consciousness is still independent, can think, can contemplate, can reflect. Do you see that? It does not change by the chains of the body. Do you see that?
Yes.
It does not change. My body changes, outer situation changes, but that consciousness is the real self. That is what we are aiming to find out. That is always full of compassion, Barbara. That has no element of sadness and suffering.
I think we get attached to our own existence.
That is what we are learning. Last one, Sangeeta, how are you?
सर एक क्लैरिटी सी आ रही थी सर, जैसे कुछ भी धुंध सी है वो छट रही है और बहुत अच्छा फीलिंग हो रहा है.
Good. She's saying that clarity, more clarity. This profound wisdom is coming. Think, my friends, again. Contemplate and reflect. Don't accept sorrow, sadness, suffering, craziness instantly. No, you made me crazy, so you are an object of craziness. Do you see that? Can I become aware of this fact? But you are not an object of craziness. So I cannot be the subject of craziness. Are you seeing that fact? So I have to see this fact here. It cannot happen by drinking a glass of water or a vodka, and self-medication will not work here. self-medication will not work to remove sorrow and suffering. That is why we have Eastern wisdom. Any question? One question remains. Are you worthy of? Complete the sentence. Thank you.
Are you important enough?
Are you worthy of?
Namaste.
Namaste. Of? Are you worthy of sadness, suffering? That is the question I'm asking, Terry. Are you worthy of suffering? Did you understand, Barbara, clearly?